just to see. We are waiting for the wind of change. We have fought a civil war, and we won the war of unity. With our lives and our love, we are expecting the wind of change. I prophesy through my songs, I prophesy about the things to come. What more you want from my songs? In time will prove me right or wrong. We are waiting for the wind of change. We are expecting to see wind of change. Time will prove me right now. Time will prove me right. The Lord will lead us on. Lord will lead us till the end. We have fought a civil war, and we won unity. With our love and our songs, we are expecting the wind of change. I prophesy through my songs, I prophesy about the things to come. Oh, what more you want from my songs? Time will prove me right or wrong. Say the truth and you will shine. Always say the truth and you will wear the crown. For someday, oh, when you are done, the Lord will lead you till the end. We are waiting for the wind of change. We are expecting to see wind of change. Time will prove me right now. Time will prove me right. The Lord will lead us on. Lord will lead us till the end. Dub it up.
Splash FM 105.5.
All right, it's the 16th day in the month of March 2021. My name is Michael Olatunbosun. Of course, you know that at this time when you hear that sick tune, it is about the agenda setting program on radio. It is that platform which allows all of us to engage for the whole purpose of getting our thoughts known and also contributing to the discussion in terms of making this country better. Let's set sail again today on the program, Talking Points on Splash FM here in the city of Ibadan. A few things on the table this afternoon. I'll be talking about the recent, if you like, the recent cacophony or confusion that came in the wake of the increase or the purported increase in the pump price of fuel, I mean petrol. We have had this back and forth about subsidy, no subsidy, subsidy, no subsidy, subsidy, no subsidy. I'll be talking in part about that. I'm hoping to be able to speak with our jury on this. Essentially, I want to know the mind of the federal government. For a lot of Nigerians, it looks like the federal government was just trying to test the waters. Yes, so we'll get the perspective from the government's end, and we'll see if the information will be useful for us. And then on the other hand, I hope to continue my conversation about the fatherism that I started yesterday. Interesting, conversations around that, which I'll bring up pretty soon on the program today. So I'm hoping to get all this to the table, and I expect that you'll be part of this conversation again today. So before I go that way, a few matters on the table. Just expose some, big matters, as they arise. I mean, as they occur in the country, particularly the unemployment statistics that emerged yesterday. Okay, so the Nigeria Bureau of Statistics, came up with these figures. And I thought we should just share a bit of it. All right, so just share a bit of it and see where we land from there. And my first juncture is the cable. The cable says Nigeria ranks third in global unemployment. Nigeria ranks third in global unemployment rate. It's in the cable newspaper. Nigeria, Africa's largest economy, has been ranked third on the list of countries with the highest unemployment rate globally. The country's unemployment rate hit a new record high at 33.3% in the fourth quarter of 2020 from 27.1% recorded in second quarter of 2020. According to the quarter 4 unemployment report released by the Nigeria Bureau of Statistics on Monday, a total of 23.18 million persons in Nigeria either did nothing or worked for less than 20 hours a week, making them unemployed during the fourth quarter of the year 2020. The Nigeria Bureau of Statistics noted that the underemployment rate decreased from 28.6% to 22.8%, while a combination of both the unemployment and underemployment rate for the reference period gave a figure of 56.1%. That's a fact, isn't it? Unemployment and underemployment, combination of the two, clocked 56.1%. Wow. According to StatiSense, a data technology company, Bosnia and Herzegovina, with 33.7%, topped the list of countries with highest unemployment rate globally. The country followed by Namibia at 33.4%, Nigeria 33.3%, and South Africa with 32.5%. This is also followed by Angola, Mozambique, Kosovo, Jordan, Lesotho, Palestine, and Swaziland. So you have, some graphics. Let me just look at the graphics. Global unemployment rate. Number one is Bosnia and Herzegovina, 33.7%. Second is Namibia, 33.4%. Nigeria is third, 33.3%. South Africa, fourth, 32.5%. Angola is fifth, 30.6%. Mozambique is sixth, 25%. Kosovo is 24% at number 7. Jordan is 23.9% at number 8. Number 9 is Lesotho, 23.5%. Palestine, 23.4%. And Swaziland, number 11, at 22.9%, according to StatiSense. One question that I have is, how do you feel finding yourself in the mix of these countries? A lot of times it's always beautiful to point at the failure of the other person. How about being in the same camp with that failed other person? Okay, it's still talking points on Splash FM here in the city of Ibadan. Quite a number of other, interesting figures in the lights. Okay, so this one, I remember I shared this one also. It's still the cable. Former Enugu governors to get 900% of salaries as pensions, where retired teachers are being owed. All right. At the time, retired primary school teachers are being owed their entitlements. The Enugu state government is planning to provide life benefits running into billions of naira for former governors and their deputies. Last Thursday, the Enugu House of Assembly introduced a bill that seeks to provide life pension for ex-governors and deputies in the state. The executive bill, tagged Enugu State Gubernatorial Pensions Bill 2021, covers all former governors and their deputies. This is happening at a time when some states, including Lagos and Kwara, are moving to block such life benefits for ex-governors. Apart from coming amid the effects of the coronavirus pandemic, it will further deplete the resources of the state, which has a 58% poverty rate, according to the National Bureau of Statistics. Interestingly, the proposed law seeks additional benefits for ex-governors, as the state already has a law providing for life pension for ex-governors. So much money to throw around, isn't it? All right, it's still talking points on Splash FM here in the city of Ibadan. Some update from Kaduna State. Just see the story. Kaduna attack, missing pupils found, says commissioner. The Kaduna government says 2 pupils initially declared missing following an attack on UBE Primary School in Rama Birnin Gwari local government area of the state have been found. The cable had reported how gunmen invaded the school in the early hours of Monday, after which some teachers and pupils were declared missing. Speaking at a media briefing Monday, Samuel Aruwan, Kaduna Commissioner for Internal Security and Home Affairs, said 3 teachers, Rabiu Salisu, Umar Hassan, and Bala Adamu, were abducted from the school. He added that 2 pupils who were missing after the attack have been found. At this time, the state government has compiled and analyzed all the security reports and confirmed that there was indeed an invasion of the said school, Arwan said. The government can confirm that 3 teachers, Rabiu Salisu, Umar Hassan, and Bala Adamu, have been kidnapped. Pupils who had just arrived at the school to begin the day's activities took to their heels in the course of the commotion. As the bandits invaded invaded the premises on motorcycles. So interesting times are here indeed. And one big question, in relation to this is that question about how it was possible for people in their numbers to, invade schools, invade communities essentially, and because essentially schools are located in communities, and cut away hundreds, big numbers of people's students, if you like, and there's no alarm. A big question about policing structure in the country, isn't it? Okay, so let's see how things turn out. And I'm going to be basically just opening the lines in a moment. But those are just a few of the matters on the table. So there's breaking news from the camp of Afenifere. And this one here says, breaking. Pa Fasonroti steps down as Afenifere leader, names Ayo Adebanjo as successor. This is the Vanguard newspaper. Okay, the writer says, cites old age as reason The national leader of the Pan-Yoruba socio-political group Afenifere, Pa Ruben Fasoranti, has stepped down, citing old age. Pa Fasoranti, who is 95 years old, has named the former deputy leader, Chief Ayo Adebanjo, as the acting national leader of the group, while the former financial secretary, Oba Oladipo Olaitan and Alago of Kajola, Atakumasa East Local Government Area, Ilesha, Osun State, was named the group's deputy leader. Recall that Fasoranti stepped in as the group's leader in year 2008. Fasoranti said this during the group's monthly meeting held in Akure, in the state capital. All right, so interesting. Wow, 95. That's golden, you know. Pa Fasoranti steps down as Afenifere leader, names Ayo Adebanjo as successor. Wow. Okay, so let's see how things are turning out on the program today. Talking points on Splash FM here in the city of Ibadan. In case you'd like to talk to me, I'll open the phone lines in a moment. 0809 155 1055, 0805 699 8678, and 07069 49 3000. I'll just come back to the matter of Dr. Kiyomi Adesina's postulations of last week of last month. Essentially, it was inauguration speech he delivered in honor of Rotimi Akeredolu, governor of Ondo State, during the second coming of the governor in Ondo State, and raised quite a number of issues. Essentially, the key thing about this the speech was that Nigeria's federalism had, metamorphosed into fatherism. And he also proffered some solutions on how to get out of the quagmire. Okay, so this some of the things I'll be bringing to the microphone in a moment. I'm hoping that I'll be able to speak with someone in the presidency to clear the air about the fuel price in the country. It's still talking points on Splash FM. I have a commercial break. I'll be back in a moment.
Splash FM 105.5.
àti dé òpin ìdíje àṣẹ yìí ọlọ́wọ́ ṣíbí tó gbajúmọ̀ kárí ayé ni yóò jẹ́rìí sí oúnjẹ tó dára jùlọ.
ó ti fún ṣé jíjẹ wa yìí tàbí yóò wí pé gbégbá orókè.
àmì ni o gbogbo àwọn ọlọ́wọ́ ṣíbí wọ̀nyí ló gbégbá orókè. ibikíbi tó lè wà tàbí irúfẹ́ ìtọ́wò rẹ o lè ṣe oúnjẹ alárinrin ní gbogbo ìgbà pẹ̀lú ọ̀ngà ohun ìsebẹ̀ aládùn ti Nàìjà tá a ṣe báyìí pẹ̀lú sóyà tiwantiwa fún èrè aṣaralóore rẹpẹtẹ.
Onga, Mama's helping hand.
Capture your world in stunning detail with the new Nokia 5.4. With a powerful 48MP quad camera and advanced video recording, giving you total creative control. Its generous 2-day battery life means your phone is there for you and your family when you need it most. Whether
Sọ̀kàtì bẹ́ẹ̀ bẹ́ẹ̀ lọ, ẹ̀dínwó tó dáa, ìfowópamọ́ tó kù àyà. Lóòótọ́, GoTV wà pẹ̀lú rẹ̀ digbí. Àwọn oníbàárà GoTV Max láti ọjọ́ kìíní oṣù kẹta ò ní ìpín nínú ìpolongo yìí o. Ìlànà àti àdéhùn wà ṣá o. GoTV nífẹ̀ẹ́ rẹ̀.
Uncle Dentist, wetin be cavities and how Colgate take dey protect my teeth from cavities? Shey dey use comfort?
No dear, na hole for teeth dey cause most tooth pain wey be cavity. But if you use Colgate Maximum Cavity Protection take brush every day, the confirmed formula go help keep natural calcium inside our teeth wey go protect them from tooth decay.
Time don reach to upgrade to the world's most chosen toothpaste, Colgate, because Colgate locks calcium in.
Now, the Nigerian Dental Association, they recommend Colgate.
Ìbàdàn 9 mobile 4G LTE ti balẹ̀ gùdẹ̀. àfihàn eré ìdárayá bí wọ́n ṣe ń gbá wọn ní yàjó á yàtọ̀. ìpè lórí fídíò àwọn ọmọ rẹ̀ rẹ́kẹ̀ṣẹ̀ iṣẹ́ yóò máa lọ ní rọrùn kò sí yọnu.
Bẹ́ẹ̀ ni o, Ìbàdàn
Ìbàdàn. Ẹ jẹ̀ gbádùn ìmọ̀ ẹ̀rọ ayélujára pẹ̀lú ojúlówó 4G LTE lórí àtẹ dátà 9 mobile. Gba gígábáìtì méjì pẹ̀lú wíwà lórí social media lọ́fẹ̀ẹ́ fún ẹ̀ẹ́dẹ́gbẹ̀ta náírà. Gígábáìtì méje pẹ̀lú wíwà lórí social media lọ́fẹ̀ẹ́ ẹgbẹ̀rún kan lé lẹ́ẹ̀ẹ́dẹ́gbẹ̀ta náírà àti gígábáìtì mẹ́ta àtààbọ̀ dátà lọ́fẹ̀ẹ́. Lálẹ́ ní àwọn àṣàyàn olóṣooṣù fún dátà ẹlẹ́gbẹ̀rún kan náírà àti jù bẹ́ẹ̀ lọ. Tẹ *200*3*1# láti bẹ̀rẹ̀. Ìlànà àtàdéhùn wàṣà o. 9 mobile.
You see that your cousin will not dey carry last for food matter? And that your niece will not like to chop better thing?
No, I know the shop am.
What about the uncle will not get shit? And that your guy will always like drink the last Coca-Cola? We sabi them. But without them, food not dey sweet. Coca-Cola and food together tastes better.
Taste the feeling.
A fully furnished, nice and comfortable hostel accommodation in University of Ibadan, or a place for seminars and executive trainings at the same venue? You do not have to worry. Adebayo Akonde Hall suits your lodging needs and provides you a home away from home. Adebayo Akonde Hall is a 4-star hostel built in a serene environment with constant supply of electricity. It has fully furnished rooms that gives you great comfort at an affordable price. Adebayo Akonde Hall is located at Ajibode Extension, University of Ibadan. To make reservations, visit www.adebayohall.com or call the numbers 0805-699-8718, 0805-699-8719, 0805.
Nigeria, now Pure Cables. Pure Cables now correct electrical cable where they reliable, dependable, and the people where they make them call, they safety conscious. Pure Cables get original copper and aluminium cable for different sizes them where you fit use for electrical wiring level for anywhere. Whether na your house, or na your office, the price uncle, no the tear pocket at all. Nationwide distribution don't start. For more information, call 0808 030 3257. 0808-030-3257. Pure Cable and Wire Limited. They have print compound. 40 gate 122/132. Also the Apapa Expressway. Iyano Solo Bus Stop, Lagos. Pure Cables. Nigerian Electrical Contractors endorser. SON approver. Pure Cables. Now you be go.
Make the most of the new normal with Nokia smartphones. Stay connected to friends and family with phone calls and video chats for longer with a 2-day battery life. And capture the beauty around you, snapping and sharing crisp pictures. The Nokia 5.4, 3.4, and Nokia 1.4 make staying connected easier. Nokia smartphones. Trusted, always secure, and built to last.
When we say the new Maltina pineapple and vanilla taste like adventure, here's what we mean. You kit up like an action hero. Check yourself out in the mirror. And then, in slow-mo, you grab a chilled bottle of Maltina pineapple or Maltina vanilla. And enjoy the taste-spiration.
Own the flavor with the new Maltina Vanilla Pineapple O Classic and let the taste-spiration fill you. Maltina. Share happiness.
Splash FM 105.5.
All right, you're welcome back. It's still talking points on Splash FM here in the city of Ibadan. And let's quickly proceed to my matter about the petroleum question. The Nigerian National Petroleum Corporation, NNPC, is projected to spend 102.96 billion naira on petrol subsidy in March. The Petroleum Products Pricing Regulatory Agency, PPPRA, recently published that ex-depot prices between 209 naira 61 kobo and 212 naira 61 kobo per litre, essentially pegging the expected landing cost at 189 naira 61 kobo per litre. The PPPRA later deleted the projection after it had caused some panic across the nation. And, when I talk about panic is in two ways. Panic from members of the public and also panic readjustment of prices by the petrol dispensing stations. The ex-depot price approved by NNPC for March was 148.6 naira, and it stated that it had no plan to increase petrol price this month. There's always been the argument that the pump price of petrol was not reflective of the market price, and that suggests that the commodity was or has always been subsidized by the NNPC. Kenny Obatiaru, the spokesperson for NNPC, said recently that this subsidy regime was to, quote, find a way in which the cost issues are addressed so as not to impact negatively on Nigerians. Of course, this statement gives strength to the opposition that the Nigerian government still pays petrol subsidy. In 2020, Minister of State for Petroleum Resources, Mr. Silva, told the media that subsidy is not completely removed, but it is done by NNPC, which does that from dollar that is able to generate. He said they do crude oil swap. I need you to listen to the Minister of State for Petroleum Resources here. Listen to how he explained this matter now.
You see, we are still trying to manage this bumpy start. I must agree. That is the actual situation. We have not really been able to get to that 100% removal of subsidy from the foreign exchange end. If we were to actually take it out completely and allow people to access foreign exchange from the parallel market and import the product, the price at the pump will even be more. But the federal government, knowing the impact this will have on the people, decided that they are going to still manage this situation. NNPC is the only one that is able to import. And NNPC is able to import because they generate their own dollars and they are able to import directly from their dollars. That's why the ordinary marketer is not being able to access foreign exchange to import this product. And if they do that, we believe that will even impact the price. That's why, for now, NNPC is the supplier of last resort, continues to play that role to supply the product at a slightly subsidized rate. So it is still subsidized in a way, I must say. Well, we are not paying subsidy. I'm just saying that NNPC is able to import from their dollars, the dollars that they are able to generate. So for some, they are not able, we cannot now look at it as accessing dollar at a subsidized rate from the central bank. But NNPC is able to generate the dollars and import. They do crude oil swap. They use the crude oil to swap. And so somehow we know that there is still a subsidy element, but we are not in a hurry to take that off now. Because we know that if we take that off, it's going to impact the people much more than it's impacting them now.
All right, it's still talking points on Splash FM here in the city of Ibadan. I have with me on the line Ajuri Ngelale. He is the Senior Special Assistant to the President on Public Affairs. Ajuri, welcome to Talking Points today.
Thank you very much, my dear brother. It's a privilege to be with you. Good afternoon to you and good afternoon to the great people of Oyo State.
The Minister of State for Petroleum Resources, they're saying that subsidy had not been removed completely, but what the NNPC does today or does now is what you call under recovery. And it's a term, based on my own understanding, it's a term used in reference to money lost through fuel sales and swap, by the NNPC. But Ajuri, I really want us to clarify something. Last week, there was, panic across the nation as to whether or not the government was going to increase the price of petrol. Ajuri, can you give us clarity on the matter of petrol pricing as we speak in Nigeria?
Yes, thank you very much, my dear brother, for this opportunity. Let me start by stating very clearly that under no circumstance has the federal government of Nigeria approved any increase in the pump price of PMS in this country, in any part of this country. It has not happened. We came out at the beginning of this month, NNPC, and clearly stated that there will be no increase whatsoever in the pump price for PMS in the month of March. So that is the position. Now, last week, what we had was a very unfortunate situation where the PPPRA, the Products Pricing Regulatory Agency, came out with what they usually come out with, which is what we call cost estimate or cost template or cost estimate. The function of the cost estimate is to tell Nigerians, it's a method of transparency, it's an instrument of transparency. The intention is to say, look, this PMS you're putting in your car at 162 per liter, right? This is the actual cost of this PMS that you're consuming. So it's really just an information that we give to our consumers, to Nigerian consumers, every month as prices are changing internationally, just to show what the actual price is. That way, when you are taking your 162 per liter fuel, you will know that the actual cost is this one. So you will know that what is in between there, the gap, is what we will call subsidy, right? Whether you want to call it subsidy or under recovery, we all know it is subsidy. That is what it is. So now, what you have in the country today is a situation where the pump price is 162 per liter, but we know that the actual cost of the product, based on the current international value of oil, is actually 212, meaning that the federal government of Nigeria, through the NNPC, is currently subsidizing 50 naira per liter on every liter that is being consumed in the country today. Okay. And for those who don't know what that means in terms of the large round figure, in the month of March, we are projecting that we are going to pay out 110 billion in just the month of March alone on that subsidy of that 50 naira per liter that we are paying subsidy on right now as we speak. Okay. So that is the situation. And so we are saying to our people that with that 110 billion naira that we are paying on subsidy just in the month of March, we can build a brand new power plant that will provide power to Nigerians. Okay. Essentially, the government is still paying subsidy. No, so this is how it works. I want to be very clear about this. Yes, we are saying subsidy, and we are saying it openly. It's not a secret. This is how it works. When we adjusted the pump price to 162, right? That was around give or take March 2020, if you recall. Yes. About a year ago. Yes. Now, at the time we pegged the fuel price at 162, what was the value of the international oil price? It was about $30 per barrel. That is what it was when we pegged the pump price at 162. So let me explain this. When the pump price, when the oil price is $30 per barrel, right? All of the charges in terms of the landing cost, what we pay to the refineries, what we pay for the logistics and transport shipping to the country, that is what we call landing cost. Then you now have the cost of moving it from where it lands into the filling stations, which is the ex-depot price. Now, by the time you quantify all of those charges together, on $30 per barrel oil, what you will get is something in the realm of about 157 or 160 naira per liter, right? So when we pegged the pump price at 162 naira, there was no subsidy because that 162 covered all of the charges of the fuel at the market rate at that time. But we know that since then, the international oil price has moved from $30 per barrel. Now we are sitting at $70 per barrel, more than double that. Okay. So the implication is that the landing cost and everything else has gone up, but that 162 remains the same because we are now paying the subsidy. Okay. Ajuri, you made reference to March 2020. In that March of 2020, the federal government announced that it had, finally got rid of fuel subsidy to allow for market-based pricing regime, especially during the oil global crisis that you mentioned. But the question is, the government also announced that it was deregulating the downstream sector. So the expectation would have been that the government would allow the market forces to determine the price. Isn't it? Isn't it? Good. So this is the challenge we have in the country, my brother. When we were all in this country when everything was happening, so nothing was hidden to any of us. when government took the decision that we were going to deregulate, right? The best time to deregulate is when what? The value of oil is low, because that means that when you deregulate, the price at the pump will be around that, 130, 140, 150 and all of that, when the oil price is low. That is when we deregulated. But if you recall, at that time, what did Labour tell us? Labour told us, if you remove this subsidy, then if you deregulate this sector, we are going to strike, we are going to shut the nation down. That is what they told us, and they said it openly. It was not secret. So now, when the price of oil started to recover to $40 per barrel, $45, $50 per barrel, Labour was now saying, we're going to shut this country down if you people try to remove the subsidy. That we don't want the pump price to go beyond the 162 where it is now. That is what Labour told us. So now you have a situation right now where federal government wants to remove the subsidy. We want to fully deregulate, allow the market force to take control, just as is done in other West African countries and every other part of the world. But Labour is refusing to allow us to do it. Well, so right now we are consulting with Labour. We're still consulting with Labour because we recognize that if we remove the subsidy today, the price of the pump is going to be $2.12. And the challenge we have is that many Nigerians don't want to pay the actual cost of the fuel.
I understand that much. But my own concern is this. The government in power announced, during campaign, electioneering campaign, that the government was going to build refineries. The current refineries that we have been in coma so far, and we are spending billions of naira to service the refineries. Why didn't the government go ahead to put up refineries or just make at least one of them functional so that we can stop, importing fuel? And, really, if you stop importing fuel, or if you stop importing a part or a number of the liters that we consume daily in Nigeria, that you would have succeeded in helping, this matter. Why has the government been tarrying in this area?
Okay, first of all, I'm going to answer your question very, very specifically and very precisely. So you have to allow me to answer you properly. This is how this thing works. There is a huge myth in this country, and I'm encountering this thing everywhere I go. So it's not just right now. This myth that if we had refineries working in this country today, that there will be cheap fuel. That if our NNPC refineries worked, if we had refining capacity in the country, that we would have cheap fuel as an oil-producing country. It is a huge myth, and it is a huge lie. And I don't know why it's something that continues to recycle itself. Everywhere I go, this is the lie that people believe. And I want to correct that. If you look at Saudi Arabia, my brother, they are one of the largest producers of oil in the world. They have all of the refining capacity required, not just to meet their own needs, but also to meet the needs of their neighbors. Right? If you look at what they're paying for their fuel, even with all of that production capacity, all of that refining capacity, they're paying even more than the 212 naira per liter that we're even talking about here in Nigeria. So the point here is I needed to say that so that people understand there is absolutely zero correlation between the issue of refining and the issue of the cost of petroleum. There's zero correlation. Now, where refining benefits us and why it is important that we refine our fuel is that it saves us foreign exchange. So whereas we're spending a huge amount of foreign exchange, paying international refiners to refine the product, then paying for the shipping and all of these logistics charges to bring the fuel into Nigeria, all of these things are being paid in foreign exchange. So when we have refineries operating locally, what you now have is you're now saving all of that foreign exchange that you're paying out. And now that can be applied to other areas of need. That is where we benefit in terms of having local refining capacity. Now, to your question on the issue of refining, first of all, this administration has put in place all of the policies that have allowed us to see to the establishment of several modular refineries across the Niger Delta and the Southeast. In fact, we've already commissioned one into operation, the Walter Smith refinery in Imo State. It's already operating, and they're expanding it. We have another one in Rivers, another one in Delta, and about 12 others across the Niger Delta that are currently under construction. Some of them are even co-owned by the federal government of Nigeria. We even have stake in them. That's number one. Number two, on the issue of the NNPC refinery, we are just finalizing right now on a $1 billion financing package that's going to see to the OEM manufacturers for them to come and reconstruct the refineries up to 95% capacity utilization with that money. Once that money comes in, they're going to reconstruct the refinery, and then as they're doing that, once they recover their cost through in exchange for Nigerian crude, we're going to take over that refinery, and then at that point, when the refineries are working, if we want to sell it, we can sell it. If we want to run it, we can run it. But either way, the president made the wise decision that we are not going to sell a $6 billion refinery for $100 million because we are lazy. No, it is better for us to put in to invest $1 billion, fix the refinery, and then sell it for $4 billion.
Okay, so for me, just for the purpose of expanding the conversation, that comparison with Saudi Arabia, do you think that the government has exhaustively considered the other sociometric indices to say, because the president made reference to it also recently?
Yes, I want to be clear on what I was saying. Nobody is doing a head-to-head economic comparison between Saudi Arabia and Nigeria. That is not what I was doing. What I was saying is that I was using Saudi Arabia as a case study to prove to you and our listeners that there is no correlation between refining capacity and the cost of fuel at the pump. That is all I was saying. I was not doing a large-scale economic comparison of the two countries.
Let's bring Ajuri.
Please, if you can allow me to land very quickly, I'm almost done. Is that once you understand that local refining capacity has nothing to do with cheap fuel, then you would treat them as separate issues. Now, in terms of Saudi Arabia's economy and our own economy, we wouldn't compare to South Africa, but you know who we do compare to? Our developing world counterparts. Go to Brazil, go to places like South Africa, go to places like even lesser ones, go to Liberia, Benin Republic. Go and see what they are paying for their fuel there. They don't have our revenues. They don't have our economic size. They don't have our economic indices. They don't have our market. Yet their people, even though their economics are much worse than ours, they are paying 212
Ajuri, let's bring this conversation to a head now. There is a large cloud of uncertainty around fuel pricing in Nigeria. I like the statement issued by the PPPRA and the NNPC and the rest of them saying that fuel price is not going to be increased for the month of March. And that's very ambiguous and open-ended. Can you come out to us very straight to say, is the government planning to increase the pump price of fuel sometime soon?
My dear brother, I have been straight from the beginning of this conversation. Of course, I'm saying it with a certainty. Fuel price will go up. 162 certainly is not going to be where we're going to be for the next several years. Certainly not. If that is what we do, all of the revenues we're generating, we will simply be using it for cheap fuel. There will be nothing like infrastructure, nothing like social investment, nothing, just cheap fuel, and we can all go our way. I don't think that's what Nigerians want. So I think the best way to go is to find a middle ground, which is why we're consulting very widely with organized labor and other stakeholders to ensure that we arrive at a price that allows the federal government of Nigeria to not be using all of its revenues on fuel subsidy because the fuel price is high. The international oil price is high. So definitely the price will go up. It will not remain at 162. The question is how much will it go up and then when will that start? So we are working with labor right now to determine when the new pump price would kick in, but it will certainly not be in the month of March. That is a certainty. It will not be this month.
Okay.
But if it starts from next month, May, we don't know. But we will find out what the negotiation will reveal.
Okay, I understand that between 2006 and 2018, the federal government of Nigeria had paid over 10 trillion naira in subsidy. I remember also
say that again, please. Say that again.
That the government of Nigeria between 2006 and 2018 had announced that we had removed subsidy. And a government that whose leader said at some point that subsidy was fluke. Would it also not be, more like a policy somersault to come back and say we are paying subsidy?
No. See, the thing is, anybody who has been following this conversation from the beginning of the conversation would have heard me clearly state that when we removed the subsidy, we pegged the price at 162. The subsidy was gone. We were not subsidizing fuel at that point because the 162 covered the fuel price. When Mr. President came in 2015 and the fuel price was pegged at what was it then? 97 naira or so per liter. I think it was because the international oil price was something like $20-something per barrel at that point during that recession. Remember the oil drop in 2014, and you had that recession then when Baba came in. That 97 naira per liter covered the international value of oil at that time at about $20-something per barrel.
Okay.
So it covered it. That means what that means. I want everybody to understand this thing. What that means is that we were not paying subsidy. That means that the 97 naira covered the value of international oil at that point. But oil it modulates. The price of oil modulates. It can be, then it was $20. We have seen it as at $120. As of 2013, 2014, it was $120 per barrel. So when you have that fluctuation, when at the price that you are not subsidizing one day, if the international value of oil goes up, then that price has to change to cover it to ensure that you're not subsidizing fuel. But if labor is telling you cannot raise the pump price, then who is going to pay for the extra money that is there? Are we going to pretend that it doesn't exist? So that's what I'm saying.
Okay.
See, the situation is very, very clear. Let's just make it very simple for all of our listeners.
Okay.
If labor does not allow, if the international oil value climbs up, it's going up, right? $70 per barrel today, right? And labor is saying you cannot remove the subsidy. We will not allow you. We will shut this country down if you try and remove the subsidy. That is what they're telling us.
Right.
And we want to remove it. But they are saying, no, you cannot remove it because we don't want anybody to be paying higher prices at the pump.
Okay.
Now, if that happens, then that subsidy is going to be there. It is just as simple as there's no magic to this thing. That is how it is.
Okay. So my takeaway from this conversation is that the pump price of petrol will go up sometime soon. That is takeaway number one. Okay.
Takeaway number two is that the oil price is something that is it's flexible, it's always moving. It goes up and it goes down. What that means is that if we deregulate today, right, at $70 per barrel, as it is today, the price that we'll be paying at the pump is 212 naira per liter. That is what it will be.
Okay.
Now, if the oil price tomorrow goes to $85 per barrel, that 212 will no longer cover the oil price. So it will now go from 212 to 225 or 230. But if 2 years from now, oil now drops back down to $40 per barrel, then the pump price will go from 230 naira back down to 130 naira or whatever it will be. That is how deregulation will work. The problem we have is that labor will simply not allow us to remove the subsidy. They're saying they will shut the country down. So what do you want Papa to do?
Labor is a big issue in this matter, right?
It is everything, because if government says we want to remove the subsidy, and Labour is saying, no, you cannot remove the subsidy, we are going to strike and shut down the banks, shut down the entire country and all of that, and the economy comes to a halt, then there's no removal of the subsidy. So the subsidy has to continue.
Right. Okay. All right. Thank you very much, Ajuri, for speaking with me. Ajuri Ngelale is a Senior Special Assistant on Public Affairs to the President. Ajuri, thank you again for this clarification.
Thank you very much for the time, my dear brother. God bless you.
All right. Still talking points on Splash FM here in the city of Ibadan. You heard it there, so just prepare your mind for it. I wanted to, clarify, the atmosphere of uncertainty that surrounds this fuel price matter. We need to put it to bed. But big questions, just like I asked him. The current president, Muhammadu Buhari, when he was campaigning, particularly in 2014, he said that subsidy was fraud. And then when the government came up and, there was, more like a dip in the global oil price, the price was adjusted to basically accommodate the global price. It was not just about removing the subsidy. It was the fact that, it was balanced up. And then when the price went up, the government came back and said they were not paying subsidy, or then they came back and said they were paying subsidy in part. And then the lingo became under recovery. and so on and so forth. We need to find a way to clarify this matter and get Nigerians out of the doldrums. Are we going to be able to do that? That's a question for everybody. It's still talking points on Splash FM here in the city of Ibadan. One of those big issues about Nigeria, which I was talking about, I'll just briefly bring it to your hearing, and then I'll come back and close the program. Dr. Akinwumi Adesina here, talking about the federal fadarism. I need you to listen again to him on Talking Points at Splash FM 105.5 here in the city of Ibadan. Listen.
The agitations for decentralization can be understood when viewed in the light of the craving for greater autonomy. But let us face it, political autonomy is meaningless unless it is backed by greater fiscal self-reliance at the state level. We tend to copy systems that are not well suited to our context. The United States that we copied from does not control resources at the state level. Instead, the states generate the bulk of their income from taxes. This is not the case in Nigeria. You can only tax people that have livable incomes. That is not the reality. Nigeria has an estimated 87 million people living in extreme poverty. You cannot tax people who can barely afford to eat. This debilitating poverty makes the country highly vulnerable to social and political risks, and it provides fodder for antisocial behavior and recruitment by insurgents and terrorists. Poverty provides supermarkets for terrorists. The level of indebtedness of Nigeria is extremely high, at 22 trillion naira. The debt stock of states, it's over 4.1 trillion naira. The three states with the highest revenues also have the highest levels of debt. Without incomes and rising debt, many states are essentially not viable. Nigeria's inequality is also extreme, with over 50% of the youth not having jobs. Rural areas are now zones of economic misery, with high rates of poverty and extremely high birth rates. Now, this double whammy continues to perpetuate an intergenerational transfer of poverty. Poverty, commingled with high levels of unemployment and underemployment, has led to an astonishing rise in crime, banditry, and kidnappings. To extricate ourselves from this quagmire, Nigeria must seriously tackle problems of extreme rural poverty, hopelessness, the unemployment and underemployment of its largely youthful population. Now, it is impossible to keep the lid on a kettle that is boiling. Now, when the kettle boils, you need to lift the lid and let the heat out. For stable governments, the people must be allowed space to express themselves. If nations and states are about people, then people's hopes and their aspirations and their demands and sometimes their complaints must be heard. We are all leaders, and sometimes leaders think all is well when actually it is not. One of the great dangers of leadership is to rely on others to tell you what is going on. Effective leaders must connect themselves. You can delegate tasks, but you cannot delegate your vision and responsibility. Effective leaders must listen. They must respect. They must feel. They must communicate. They must act in the best interest of all.
All right, that's about the size of the program today. Dr. Akinwumi Adesina there has words there. For us, those words are there to keep kicking in our hearts until we meet again on this program. I like to, really analyze that those statements that he made, plus others that he did make when he was speaking on the 24th of February during the second term inauguration of Rotimi Akeredolu in Ondo State. But M-Spice is in the building, so you understand that Game On will be coming in a moment. That's after the Ibadan News update at 4 o'clock. Our next time meeting is Thursday. Let's make the best of that time. And meanwhile, you know how I like to close. The rains are back, or the rains are here. Do not dump refuse in the waterways, and make sure you do everything within your power to make this nation better. Enjoy the rest of the day.
Splash FM 105.5.